Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how you must prepare your energy before exiting your living space and going out into this westernized matrix realm. You know what I mean? And what kind of brought me to this subject today was I was out moving around yesterday and took my mini to the Discovery Museum for a solar return. So what I do is we do something outside of the matrix, which we went to a orchard, which is still part of the matrix, but it's only but so much you can get removed from, you know. So we still got out and we hit the apple orchards or whatever, but we also went by the Discovery Museum, which is an indoor museum just for little people to kind of run around and they can basically do whatever, you know what I mean? But getting into the place, and before I got there, I was already kind of processing, like, I know she enjoys coming out to these places and doing these things, right? But for me, I'm not a little person, I'm a big person. So I'm not at the same space she's in spiritually. So for her, she can go and be around 1,000 beings and not really be too affected because of the space she's in. It's not 1,000 people at the Discovery Museum, but when I'm out in these places, in these spaces with all these other different entities, and you know, going to these environments, you can kind of tell where certain beings is receiving their information from. You can kind of just tell how they engage with their child, how they talk, you know, just different things, you know. And a lot of them in there wasn't like ill-intentional, they was kind of just like sheep. So, but the thing with the sheep is the sheep are following the bad team's fucking playbook. So, like, when you are preparing your energy to go into these spaces, right, you have to remember that you don't know any of these beings that's in here, you know. And even if they aren't there to cause harm, there is always an energy exchange. There's always an energy exchange. You're giving energy, you're taking energy. They're giving energy, they're taking energy. And when I had got into the space out there, I was probably only in there for probably like 20 minutes maybe, before I just start feeling really drained out. And it's my mini solar return, so I'm not about to be a party pooper. So I'm going to figure it out. She just thugged it through the apple orchard. You know, she wasn't really trying to walk all the way through how we had to walk through to get to where we had to get to the pick at, but she thugged it through. So I'm in a space now. I feel you. I'm in a space now to where I'm trying to thug it through, and we get to like this little section where it's like the kitchen area where they can pretend play or whatever, blah blah blah. And I was getting so drained. And it wasn't like I was running around talking to people. It was like the environment was just sucking the life out of me, but felt like it was giving energy to my mini. So while she's juicing up and charging up, running around and doing all these other things and activating all her chakras and shit, I'm over here on the other end just feel like I'm losing life force out of me. Like, I started getting hungrier, even though I just ate before I went in there. I don't have headaches, but I started getting that little throbbing thing up here with my crown chakra and my pineal, you know. Just everything in here was good, but it was just like the shit was just like, it makes me realize the older I get and the more I do this, the more I have to be physically and spiritually prepared, and which made me come to this subject today, because a lot of us are in these spaces, you know, and a lot of this stuff for some of us is unavoidable. It just so happens the situation I was in yesterday it was a avoidable situation, but I chose to put myself in that position, you know what I'm saying? So you will never learn or get lessons unless you're out experiencing life. So, you know, you have to do those things. But those situations is no different than when I had the other videos discussing the Targets and the Walmarts and all the other department stores, grocery stores, you know what I mean, we go to and that we deal with. And you have to go in there and deal. First, you have the environment, right? The environment is set up with a bunch of artificial suns. That's what I always call lights. That's what I tell my mini too. I tell her these lights, whether it was a light in the house that's just a big light, or whether it was like a standing light that I placed in the house, or like just a table light lamp, I always tell her these lights are artificial suns. It's keeping the light on, but you're not receiving no nutrients or no vitamins or anything that your body needs from it. So the lights inside the house is baby artificial suns. So that's why they also are used to keep you awake longer. That's why you feel like sometimes you stay awake longer when you're in the house and you still have the lights on. You realize, oh shit, I gotta turn the lights off. Yeah, because the artificial suns it's kind of like tricking your body. Your body is used to producing a certain hormones and chemicals, so that way you can leave your vessel and your vessel can rest and heal and charge. What we call sleep. But just being aware, like, so when you in these buildings and locations and you got all these artificial suns beaming on you, whether it's the LEDs or the yellows, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? That's one thing that's already affecting you from up here downward. You know what I'm saying? So that's one factor. And then we all know when you go into most of these places, what's the temperature on? -0. Every fucking office and place and building you go into, is their job to make sure that your body temperature is not balanced, so that way you can properly process whatever information you have to process. If you're a doctor's office, you be having to make important decisions, but your ass be so cold, or you done sat in there so long you feel like you don't feel cold anymore, but it's already affected you and your decision making. It's the same thing when you go into the Targets and the Walmarts and the rest of these stores. They're freezing when you go in these damn places. Grocery stores, it makes sense to keep your food. I hate grocery stores, but we use them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always stick to discussing the other ones, because I am not a huge fan of the grocery store theory. But you have to prepare your energy. You got artificial suns beaming down on you. Then you have the temperature of the location. That's two things already from entering the building, and you haven't even engaged with anyone yet. So on top of that, then you have, we're in the Western world. Most motherfuckers around us is sheep or they're demons. So the very few of us out here that is vibrating and trying to do what we can to stand our role to help create this shift, you know what I'm saying? You have to be extra aware of what's going on. Like, we don't get paid to think about our energy and to protect our energy and to, or in our spirits and our vessels and all the important shit that we need to kind of properly process and make decisions out here and do what we need to do out here. It's all these distractions. That's a distraction. These artificial suns, when you go in these places, distraction. The temperature is a distraction. And then you have so many items to choose from, which is also affecting your decision making. So if you're somebody who easily distracted, then you may be like I was when I used to go to the grocery store. If I was hungry, I go in there for certain items and I'm leaving out there with way more items than I planned on going in there for. But once you get into a process of just constantly going through it and being self-aware, then you realize you have to be laser focused. You have to be laser focused when you're going into these places. You know what I'm saying? When you're jumping out there in these locations, like, it's so many things that will detour you from what you're trying to do, whether it's on a simple level or a higher level. You know what I'm saying? But it's just mind-blowing how where you have to focus the most at is where you have to make time to focus at, because you have so many other things to do. If there was no system, we would be able to just figure out all the other shit that we needed to, and then add distractions if we want to. But in this Western world, you come into a shit ton of distractions. You know what I'm saying? It's like they drop you in the middle of the toy store, the grocery store, the electronics store, the drug store. It's like they just drop you in the middle of this shit and everything. They be like, here, figure it out. And then there's very few of us, which we would call the needle in the haystack, you know what I'm saying, that can manage through all the distractions, that made it and still is pressing and making it through the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, the attacks is cool and they hit, you know what I'm saying, and they gonna do what they do. But right now, I feel like the distractions is more potent. I feel like it's 60-40, 60 distractions, 40% attacks. Maybe before, prior back then, they had to do more attacking and less distracting, but right now we're in a space to where they're doing more distracting and then attacking. So 60-40, it's always on a percentage scale. My little homies out here getting to it. But you have to be prepared and focus your energy before you go to some of these places. Make sure you got something in your body, in your vessel, you know what I'm saying? Because something witchy is gonna happen. Either you're gonna receive some witchy energy, like non-verbally, or it's gonna be said verbally, and you probably wasn't expecting it because that wasn't on your to-do list, which was to go slay somebody at this location. But you're gonna have to slay. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to protect your energy. That's just the process out here. So, these are things that, like, as you continue to grow, you'll be more aware of and you'll pay more attention to. And reprocessing that yesterday, because we was only in there for probably less than an hour, maybe an hour at the most, you know. But still, even with that hour, that was still like more than enough to be like, all right, you have to do a better job at preparing your energy even for these locations. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are good at being like, all right, well, I don't want to go here right now because it's 5 o'clock, you know, and this place is crazy at 5 o'clock. That's very smart and wise, you know. But you also have the other times too as well. You know, that's just one obvious time to avoid. You know what I'm saying? That's like avoiding major traffic, like the 5 o'clock traffic jam. But there's still more accidents that's outside of that 5 o'clock time. So it's just being aware, you know what I'm saying, of how important your energy is, and how important your spiritual being is within, you know. And you, between work, the things that you feel like you want to do, the shit that you need to do, you know, the beings that you help in, you know, the breaks that you do take to just kind of woosah yourself, like, all of these things are not really equated for how you need to budget your energy throughout the day with shit becoming more witchier. You know, it used to be a point in time where you could leave out the house, you may only have one witchy incident, or, you know, maybe two. But now when you leave out the house, you know, you're running into multiple witchy ass situations. And the way we have our technology, you're getting witchy energy sent to you while you're in your house. Between your phones, your computers, and your dumb TVs, you know? So even in your space, they're in your space, so you just have to be mindful, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to run it up too long, you know what I'm saying? Tapping everything down below. You already know we always out here with nature and life. Vibing consistently, you know what I'm saying? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.